Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Yes, you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Welcome, 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 as they say on Hunger Games, which, in case, I don't know if I mentioned it on here, I actually finally saw them all. I just spent one weekend and binged the entire series. So I'm ready for the new one, the prequel that's coming out, which I'm really excited about because I love, 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 love Peter Dinklage. So here we are all again. And you know what? I only have one viewer, and I have a feeling I know why. So you guys are all going to bear with me. I'm going to get underway really soon. The Shuttle Pod show had some difficulties the other day with streaming. The Shuttle Pod show. Oh, there I am talking to myself. It kept cutting in and out. People were getting very, very, very upset. But it wasn't the Shuttle Pod show, and there wasn't anything we could do about it. It's just YouTube was just having these awful, awful hiccups. And it looks like it's hiccuping again because it never created the direct link for my show. So I'm going to put that out on the socials while I'm yapping with y'all, because I actually had to start the show in order to get it direct. Hold on, watch this. You get to watch my resting, note-taking, typing face. All right, there we go. All right, Twitter, do your thing. Go out to the masses. Let them know we are here and we are live. Hello, Janine. Hi, Uncle Hairball. Yes, it's working somewhat. I'm here. I don't know. We all know that was a taped thing yesterday. It was amazing. Doug Drexler was amazing. There was stuff that I didn't pick up in the first go around when he was live that I heard yesterday in the highlights. So I was really happy to be watching it. So I was really excited. But yeah, the video crapping in and out. At least it was nice to know that I wasn't alone. My internet crapped out on me Sunday morning before the show started. So I was like, oh God, is this like a hangover from the internet crapping out? And when everybody else said they were having problems, I'm like, oh good, it's not my Comcast. It's YouTube. Because I watch them. I give them, hi Robert, I give them 2 views because I watch on my laptop through my NX 7062 channel, but I also have a personal Gmail channel that I use. So I watch them on my TV with that channel. So I, figure, I know it's 1 versus 2, but you know what? Every little bit helps when you're trying to support a show. So listen, anybody out there that's got more than one YouTube, log on. If you want to watch if you want to double up the views for me, I would be really grateful. So before we get underway, I do have a couple of announcements as always. The first one, my buddies over at Lambda Quadrant are once again doing a virtual online. Hi, Nancy. They're doing an online event. It is this weekend. It's called Holocon 4 because it's the 4th one. Holocon 4 and then good. They're having some fantastic guests. Chase Masterson's going to be there. Nicole DeBoer is going to be there. A few other people are going to be there. I recommend you heading over. I recommend you heading over to Lambda Quadrant on Twitter. They're just at Lambda Quadrant everywhere. And head over to Lambda Quadrant on Twitter, and you can check out all of the specifics for the event. As always, they are raising money for an incredible charity. It is specifically designed to give LGBTQ school-age students safe spaces. And it is going to be the 4th and the 5th. And it's going to be 4 to 8 Eastern or 1 to 5 Pacific, obviously, depending on where you are. And like I said, I've been involved. When I was involved with Lambda Quadrant, we did 3 of them, and they were fantastic. And they were... it's a great way to spend a couple hours of your weekend on Saturday and Sunday. You get your trek on, you're supporting some amazing causes, and they always put on a good show. So I highly recommend Lambda Quadrant Holocon 4 good this weekend. And like I said, if you head over to Lambda Quadrant, look at this. All you got to do is go over to their Twitter, Lambda Quadrant, and check them out. and check out all the events and the links and all that fun stuff. But like I said, highly recommend it. The other housekeeping things I have, Shuttlepod Show has a date for their live event. I tried to get Mark to come on the show tonight and let everybody know on the official after party, but unfortunately he is otherwise engaged this evening, or he might be here to announce it himself. So I can't, mum's the word, until the official release date comes out. Thank you to everybody that voted on that little Google form that I created. So thank you. We got a lot of feedback, and it was really, really close. A couple of the dates were really, really close, but there will be dates, and they will be announced hopefully this week. And like I said, I wish it could have been here, but it's not going to be here. So it will be somewhere else. Obviously on their socials, to make sure you follow up with them. And obviously I will be sharing the information as soon as it's free for public consumption. Happy Mischief Night. So far, I have not heard eggs or toilet paper hitting my windows. And I do have a Ring camera this time around. There was one year when I lived here that somebody threw eggs at my bedroom window on the second floor. I mean, it scared the crap out of me and the animals. Just bam, just a big explosion. And the second floor, how the hell are you supposed to clean that? But so far things have been pretty quiet. I think most of the kids from the neighborhood that did that have all grown up and gone away, because I haven't really seen or heard anything in the last couple of years. So let's hope no toilet paper in my tree and no eggs against my window. But yeah, happy Mischief Night to everybody. As you can see, I came dressed. My Halloween costume is, I'm a Star Wars fan. No, absolutely love this shirt. I know it's backwards, but it's Baby Yoda. It's Baby Yoda, and they're calling him Precious Cargo. The irony for me is Precious Cargo is one of my least favorite Enterprise episodes. I can't say least. It's one of my least favorite Enterprise episodes, but having Baby Yoda be called Precious Cargo repurposes the term for me. So that's why I love this shirt so much. Okay, what else? Okay, Lower Decks. I actually did sit down and watch Lower Decks tonight. And who else? Show of hands for anybody that watched Lower Decks. Thought, and I think Mike McMahon did this on purpose. I forgot to look up the tweet before I came on, but I think he tweeted something about a twist or so. I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure they did this on purpose. But show of hands, the planet that they were on, that relay station, the relay station looked exactly like the bunker from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And then you've got Mariner jumping out of the woods going like this, which is completely reminiscent of C-3PO going, hello, over here. So I think that not only were they giving a nod to Trek, I think, honestly, they were giving a nod to Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Personal opinion, I haven't seen anything specific, and it's not a week old yet. So I don't want to really say too much of anything, because that's a really cool surprise. I wouldn't want to ruin for anybody that hasn't seen it. And like I said, I'm terrible. I don't watch them when they come out. I watch them as long as I watch them. Hi, Puka. As long as I watch them before I get on here. Hey, Travis, good to see you. I figure as long as I watch it before I jump on here, I'm good. So I don't know. Thursdays are just really off day. I like to watch Lower Decks when I'm in a different headspace than just getting done work for the day. I kind of want to savor it for like when I'm relaxed on the weekend, or in this case, because I was terrible and behind. I'm behind on everything. My annual watch of Hollywood Kills starring Dominic Keating hasn't even happened yet. And I know technically I have tomorrow. I might just put it on tomorrow for background while I'm working. I haven't 100% decided what I want to do about it yet. I know I feel like I need to watch it before the 31st. I've been watching other stuff. Just haven't, sat down and put it in. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh crap, tomorrow's Halloween. And this has been an annual event since I found out the movie existed. So I really do need to do that. And the other thing is I didn't want to save it till next weekend. So and I, like I said, just didn't watch it this weekend. So, that's my favorite. That's absolutely my favorite Star Trek actor in a horror movie. I think Dominic Keating does evil very well. Oh, Hollywood Kills? Really? It freaked. Yes, Ginny. Yes. Let me guess. Was it all the needles? Was it all the needles? I don't want to say anything else for anybody, but was it all the needles? and then at the end with the eyelids, because that's what always gets me, even though I know it's coming. That is what always gets me. Like I said, the movie itself is not that great. I had somebody call it gore porn, which I really don't think it's gore porn. Yes, the eye thing at the end. Yep. Freaks me out every stinking time. One of these days I'm going to ask Dominic about that. Freaks me out every single time. I have talked to him about the movie in general. Talked about whether it was fun or difficult to kill somebody, because there's this one really great scene. The first time you see him kill somebody in the movie is just kind of cool. I thought the special effects are terrible, because he breaks a bottle and you can literally see where they cut away, so that you see the bottle hole and then you see it broken, but the cutaway is terrible. Like, you know that's exactly what they did. So the editing was really bad. But it was kind of cool to watch. And I said, is it fun because you get to like kill people and you don't get to do that in real life, or is it technical? And he said, it's technical. So Tuba in a tunnel. Oh my God, Puka, did you really? That's awesome. Thank you so much. I will totally share that with JG. Thank you so much. For those of you that might not have been here last week, we were talking about places for JG to hawk his book. And Puka had mentioned Nashville guy that plays tuba in a tunnel. So I will definitely pass that along to JG. I want to thank everybody, by the way, that voted in the would you buy an autographed copy of JG's book from JG directly. And the answer was a resounding yes for the people that answered. There was one person, I think, that said no. And I know another one of my viewers, Mars, who's amazing, would have, had she not already had a chance to buy one from him. So it's great. We're doing it. Just want to let you know we're doing it. I'm working with JG right now to put together just a couple of links. So you just go directly to the link and you can purchase from the link, and you will be able to, there's a notes section. So you're going to be able to, if you want to have it personalized, something more than just your name and, signed by JG, you'll be able to leave them a note and ask for something a little more specific. We're working out some pricing. We have to work out shipping. And so that should be up really soon. JG's done horror. He did, what was it, like Prophecy? I want to say 2. It's either 2 or 3 he did. I think he was a priest. So he's done horror. Robert O'Reilly was in Candyman. I want to say Candyman 3, which is awesome. And of course, Tony Todd himself was Candyman all the way up. And then they did the reboot, and he was still in that for a split second, and it was perfect and beautiful. And I really love the remake. Tony Todd's been everywhere in horror. Tony Todd's been in all of the Final Destinations, or almost all of them. And then the one that he wasn't in, which I think was 3, which was the one that starts in the amusement park, he was the voice of the roller coaster. Tony Todd has one of the most unmistakable voices, I think. So when you hear him doing the voice of the roller coaster, immediately like, I know that voice. So he's a big one. Every year at this time, I watch AMC Fear Fest. And I actually remembered I had been watching it while I work. I get to work from home, so I keep the AMC on behind me. So I get to watch it, or at least leave it on in the background. So I got to see a little bit of Hellraiser 3, which had Terry Farrell. Hellraiser 1 had Andy Robinson. Oh, that's amazing, Puka. That's absolutely amazing. John Carpenter is a genius. I mean, besides his movies, his soundtrack to Christine was so well done. He did the soundtrack. He did the music for Halloween, which of course they're running a Halloween marathon on today. I'm trying to think if there's any Star Trek links to any of the Halloween movies. If somebody can think of one before me, we all know Bowling Green or Nearby Town. Oh, very cool. Okay, did not know that. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, if you noticed, Restream is letting me they have a Halloween themed design. So that's why usually my name's not up, because it's right. My name's not up because it's always down here, but it's over on the side because it's that bloody, drippy Stephanie K. Trying to think. Well, I mean, the obvious Halloween, yes, it was the James Kirk or William Shatner mask. I mean, but I'm trying to think if there's any actor links or how close we can link an actor in a Halloween movie to Star Trek. And I mean, if I sat down and looked through IMDb, I might be able to pull something out. All right, this one's a long one. There has to be a closer one, but this is the first one that popped into my head. And this is kind of like 6 degrees of separation for Kevin Bacon. I can do it, I think, in two or three. Okay. Halloween 4 and 5 introduced Laurie Strode's daughter. Never went anywhere after that. In fact, I forgot about her for all the subsequent Halloween movies. But there was a little girl that played Laurie Strode's daughter. It was played by Danielle Harris. Danielle Harris ended up doing Roseanne for a couple of seasons. She played the neighbor. And in fact, that character was very into David, who, oh my God, I feel so bad because the actor's name is escaping me, but he's the one that ended up on Big Bang Theory and Leonard Nimoy and all the Star Trek people that have been on Big Bang Theory. So that's a couple degrees of separation to get from Halloween to Star Trek. There might be closer ones, and I feel so bad I cannot remember. Oh, Johnny Galecki, I think. Is that? I don't know. I feel terrible. If you want to talk about cool locations for Halloween stuff, Sleepy Hollow, New York, for those of you that don't know, actually does exist. It is this teeny little, beautiful little town. Technically, everything outside of New York City, everybody calls it upstate. It's technically in upstate New York. It's maybe 45 minutes outside of the city, give or take, depending on where you leave from the city. It's right across the Hudson. I want to say from New Jersey. It's not that far from New Jersey. And a few years back, Jeffrey Combs was there doing his Edgar Allan Poe one-man show. So I drove a little over 2 hours, literally just to go see Jeff. And it was worth absolutely. Galecki. Thank you, Travis. Johnny Galecki. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So Jeff Combs has done Edgar Allan Poe and Sleepy Hollow. So that's cool. And it is absolutely beautiful. If you're ever in New York for an extended period of time and you just want to, especially in the fall, because it's beautiful up there, if you ever want to just do something, you can bop over to Sleepy Hollow. I actually got my not the one I have now, the Mustang that I wrecked back in April. I bought it right next door to Sleepy Hollow, the next town over. I found it, and I'm like, yay, you get to go to Sleepy Hollow to go buy a car. So we kind of sort of connected Halloween in a degrees of separation thing. Okay, so let's talk about, so this other thing I want to share is not Star Trek related, but it is kind of really stinking cool. If you are a horror fan, and I'm hoping because you're here, you're a horror fan. Obviously, Janine she watched Hollywood Kills. Yay. Thank you. Love that. I love that I have other people that are watching it because it's one of my favorite things to do on Halloween. Cause like I said, Dominic Keating does the bad guy so good. If you look up any of his things, he played a drug dealer once in CSI New York. I'm sorry, I'm digressing. And that was really good too. Okay, so the other thing that AMC does, besides their weekly their marathons of horror movies on Fear Fest, they bring back Creepshow, the TV. They have a TV show, Creepshow. It's it's kind of like it's kind of like Tales from the Crypt, same basic principle, except doesn't have the cool Crypt Keeper. I love the Crypt Keeper, and I can link Tales of the Crypt to Star Trek in a second. I love the Crypt Keeper. But, so I was watching it tonight. It was not this past Sundays, but it was last Sundays. I was watching Creepshow, and it was about an author. It was this whole big thing about an author with writer's block. And he kept saying how he wanted to be like this other horror author, Stephen Bachman. And I'm like, Bachman. This was so obvious that if it was a snake, it would have bit me. Everybody knows Stephen King, but most fans now know he used to write, and in fact, he wrote Running Man under a pen name, Richard Bachman. Oh, Uncle Hairball, you're in the hospital? Oh my gosh, that is a hell of a birthday. Well, happy birthday, and feel better. And everybody say happy birthday and sending good healing vibes to Uncle Hairball. So sorry. Thank you for popping by at all. I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So thank you. So anyway, I know he wrote more than Running Man. I can't. Did he write his? Anyway, Stephen King's pen name was Richard Bachman, and his real name is Stephen King. So they took Stephen and Bachman, put them together, and they made up an author for this episode. And I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, Creepshow is really good. If you have AMC or Shudder, it's hey JR. It's really good to if you're a horror fan, if you catch it. Shudder, I don't have a subscription, but I do have a DVR, so I get to record it. So okay, Tales from the Crypt. How does it relate to Star Trek? Tales from the Crypt, my guess is at some point, if you sat down and watched them all, there would probably be somebody from Star Trek in the TV show. I have one of the seasons on disc because Christopher Reeve did an absolutely amazing episode with Judd Nelson and Meatloaf, and I highly recommend it, and I don't want to spoil any of it. I don't want to spoil any of it for anybody, but if you can find the Tales from the Crypt with Christopher Reeve, highly recommend it, especially because Meatloaf's in it, and you'll understand it if you watch it. And get back to me if you do. Okay, Zod. I was just talking about Christopher Reeve, and now you're leaving. Anyway, probably because I was talking about Superman and Zod got pissed, so he left. The movie version, Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, they had two. Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight was the first one. And they opened the movie with a little side thing, like the movie didn't start. It was like there was this little vignette that they did before the main movie started. John Larroquette was in that. So there you go. More Star Trek people in horror. John Larroquette was in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which again, highly recommend that one as well. I met Billy Zane, who had the title role, and I told him how fabulous I thought he was in that role. It's great because he's a demon and he's evil, and he has so much fun tormenting everybody that's in it. So it was really great. Who else? A lot of people there were a lot of names in that one, actually. So again, that's a really good one, and it has a Star Trek tie-in. The other thing that I decided to talk about tonight, and I will probably wind this back around to movies, but the other thing I decided to chat about tonight was everybody, if they had a favorite spooky, scary episode of Star Trek. And Nancy wrote and said Cat's Paw, because the witches and the black cats, and when she thinks Halloween and Star Trek, of course, black cats and witches, you're going to think Cat's Paw, which, in case for those of you that couldn't figure this out, was not an accident because its original air date was October 27th. So I haven't watched Fall of the House of Usher, but if it has anything to do with Edgar Allan Poe, which Fall of the House of Usher does, then absolutely. Absolutely. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know if you were here for the whole, I went and saw Jeff Combs do Poe, but I love Edgar Allan Poe. And you know what was awesome about that show is I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him. And at one point, and you know, everybody knows Quoth the Raven Nevermore. But at one point he starts reciting Annabelle Lee. And I realize that I remember Annabelle Lee. I don't remember when I heard it, the last time I heard it, but I heard it enough and I've read Poe enough that I was actually reciting it right along with him. And I thought that was really cool. The other Star Trek that got a mention was, of course, and I knew this was coming, Genesis. And of course, we all know this is the one where everybody turned into scary things. Deanna turned into a fish. But I think the main thing that made it so scary for everybody was Barclay Spider. Absolutely, Barclay Spider was what made it so scary for everybody. Okay, Michael Pataki. Okay, that's who that is. Puka Hair, I saw you. Okay, Klingon. There we go. All right, so he was a Klingon. Gotcha. Okay. And Puka, who are we saying that Michael Pataki is? How are we relating that back to Star Trek? Oh, there we go. Played Klingon and in Halloween 4. That's right. He was the doctor. Good going, Puka. Puka wins that one. That's right. And I just watched Halloween 4 today. I was wondering why he looked so familiar. Spot on. Ding, ding, ding. Gold star for the night, Puka. Thank you so much. I saw no previews, so I'm surprised at the Sci-Fi Legends cast. Genesis was so good. Yeah, I have to start watching it because, like I said, anything that has anything to do with Poe, I really should be watching. Genesis was great. Barclay Spider, for those of you that don't know, if I remember the story correctly, the filming got interrupted because of one of those major LA earthquakes. So they didn't have as long to finish shooting it as they should have because they had to stop. And if they had the optimal amount of time to put everything together, Barclay would have dropped down from the ceiling and done much more Tribble-y like things. Or Tribble-y like, I'm sorry, I'm reading Puka saying Tribble. Much more spidery like things that would have made it even scarier. The other Star Trek episode that got nudged on the scary scale was, of course, and my favorite, Impulse from Enterprise, the one with the zombie Vulcans. Now, how scary is it? Because they weren't really slow moving, and Vulcans are already ridiculously strong. So they're not like Earth zombies. They weren't moving slowly, and they could have ripped you apart in like 2 seconds. So Vulcan zombies are pretty stinking scary. And you know the one thing I didn't do, and I can do it now while I'm yapping at you guys. I looked up the original air date of Cat's Paw, but I didn't look up the original air date of Impulse, and I really should have. And in fact, Brianna, who voted for Impulse, actually gave me the episode number, and I should have looked in it a little bit. It was actually early. There it is. October 8th. So let's see. That year Halloween really screwed them up for whatever reason. Enterprise did not have a Halloween episode. According to IMDb, they went right from the 22nd of October to November 5th. There was no 29th, October 29th episode that year. I don't know if that's because they were worried Halloween. They were so worried about everything with the UPN. I don't know if they were worried nobody would watch it because Halloween. But yeah, so it was in October. It just wasn't as close to Halloween as so, you know, whether it was intended to be. There you go. It was a very goosebumpy episode. I love the way, I wonder, this is probably going to go away after tomorrow, but I'm just loving the way this graphic is working. And Goosebumps, look, it's like the Goosebumps font, and you said Goosebumps, Jer, so that's freaking awesome. So I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I did want to say I know I had mentioned last week that I was looking for a guest. Unfortunately, I got ghosted. Not for real. I just thought that was the only thing that fit, but it just, everybody I wanted to invite had something going on this week. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to invite anybody, but Stephanie Gangon from Trek Long Island is going to be here next week because we're going to continue the Conventions 102 programming to talk about what it's like to actually build and put on technically it's a sci-fi convention because it's not licensed, but to put on a convention of any kind. And the work that goes into it. And hopefully, you know, I want you guys to understand what goes on. And I know this isn't necessarily about all of my loyal viewers, but I like to, you know me, I like to educate people. And it's really important for me to have everybody understand because as you all know, we're going to see, you know, you always see people complaining about this or that about a convention. And I always feel like maybe if people had a better understanding of what the convention entails and the effort that people put into bringing it to you, that maybe people wouldn't necessarily, not that some complaints aren't legitimate. There are absolutely some complaints that are absolutely legitimate, but maybe some people would think a little bit more before before posting negative things. By the way, in case you didn't notice, this amazing graphic behind me, I don't know if it's for real or not, but it is the graphic. That's okay, Jober, as long as no werewolves, vampires, or zombies got you. We're very happy to see you. Hi, Jover. This is technically supposed to be the Enterprise carved into a pumpkin. I've only ever found it online in this really cool lit up way. So, I know there are I can barely put 2 eyes, a nose, and a scary mouth in a jack-o'-lantern. But I know so many talented people, including a friend of mine, who can carve the shit out of pumpkins. So I'm going to run on the assumption somebody actually did sit down and painstakingly take hours upon hours to do this. I just don't know. I found it online and I loved it. And so this is my backdrop for tonight because I just think it's so stinking cool. Code of... Oh my God, Jobber. Yes, I will give that to you. I will give that to you because it's a horror on so many levels. So many levels. Jober wins that one. I think everybody involved with that episode would agree with you. It is probably incredibly, it is horror. It's horror and then horrible. I mean, that's where horrible comes from. It's a horror. So that absolutely fits. Robert, you're going. I leave for Comic-Con. I'm assuming you mean Rhode Island Comic-Con. Robert, have a very, very, very safe trip. Heading up there, I'm assuming you're driving. I hope you have an amazing time for all of us. I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but I hope you have an awesome time. Maybe one of these days I'll shoot for getting a booth. My dream, honestly, is to have a table at a convention. And I tried last year in April, but a lot of stuff happened around the dates that I was supposed to go up for that convention, including not having a car. So that was probably the biggest drawback. But maybe this year, third time's a charm, because this will be the third year in a row that I've attempted to attend the Quiet Corner Sci-Fi Con up in Connecticut. But A, excuse to go to Connecticut. B, I've got family that lives at 30 minutes away from where the convention is. C, New England. So there's just so many reasons, except, April's a bad month this year, so I don't know. Yep. The video. You know what? You know what's really funny that you should say that, because I'm not a huge fan of Voyager, but I just watched the one last night because it was on H&I before Acquisition, which I love. It's one of my favorite episodes. So I tuned it in, and it's the one with the 2 Voyagers trying to do the antimatter thing, and Harry, Kim, and the baby die on one Voyager but live on the other, so they have to jump. They jump to the Voyager that's going to survive. I don't know the title. Again, not a huge Voyager fan, but those were the Vidians, right? Yeah, and they're going around like harvesting people, and they're sitting there talking about Kes, and they've got her all laid out on the table in sick bay. Yeah, that is pretty scary. That is pretty gross and pretty scary. So Robert, you can absolutely have that one. Garak was extra scary. Was Garak extra scary in Empok? I like saying Empok Nor. Was he extra scary in Empok Nor? Let's see what Jober says. As far as actually scary episodes, TNG Schism, where crew members were being abducted by aliens. It's not a bad one. I'll give you that one. Absolutely. The one, what's really funny? One of my least favorite Enterprise episodes, besides Precious Cargo, is Hatchery, which is the 3rd season episode where they come across the insectoid ship that crashed, and it's got the nursery in it, and then Archer gets smacked in the face with that stuff that makes him want to protect the insectoids at any cost. That is scary, because it's annoying. I don't like it because it's annoying and whatever, but that one scene where Archer turns around and all those insectoid babies are just clinging to him. That's pretty scary. That with all those insectoids, that's pretty gross and pretty scary. And thank you for refreshing my memory, Travis. Yeah, that's not good, and that is definitely scary. I remember that. Yes, where they're trying to piece together the details. Yep. Yeah, and they're like, oh, yeah, I remember the table, and then there was the probe, and then yes, Jober, absolutely, 110%. You get it on that one. You guys have to understand, I love Trek. Obviously, I'm here talking about Trek. I love Star Trek. But when it comes to details of episodes, I'm really much better with Enterprise because that's the one that I actively rewatch. The other ones I don't really actively rewatch except 1 or 2 episodes. Trying to think if there's any more DS9 had some really dark ones, but dark and scary are 2 different things. Anything with the Mirror Universe obviously is Mirror Universe actually is good for Halloween because it gives you options, fun options for costumes. Like I said, I'm not at a weight yet where I want to show my belly, but if I ever do get to that weight, and I was going to cosplay Enterprise, it would totally be Enterprise. It would totally be Enterprise Mirror Universe. I could cheat, get a blue TOS scant, get long brown hair and Vulcan ears, and just say I'm T'Pol on the Defiant. I could do that too. That would be a cheat that I might have to keep in mind. My red is my color. So whenever I want to do Trek, I always try lean towards red. And yes, I know that's not the best thing to do, but I always try and lean towards red. But maybe STLV, I'll do blue and put on ears and just say I'm T'Pol on the Defiant. Where Bev was scanner bodies in a cargo bay and they all sat up. I was freaked out. That is freaky. You're right. I don't remember. Who remembers that episode? Because I don't remember that episode either, but you're absolutely right. That was freaky. Anytime a bunch of bodies covered in, you think they're dead and they're covered in a sheet, and anytime those sheets move, forget about it. It's totally freaky. Speaking of moving dead, that leads me to Jeff Combs in Reanimator. All of the Reanimators are freaking, they're the kind of like horror, gross, disgusting, but funny at the same time. Because seriously, a bunch of reanimated, bloated, naked bodies running around in a hospital morgue is actually pretty funny and gross and funny all at the same time. So Reanimator, if you haven't watched it, please do. Jeff had fun doing them. I've talked to him about those. Jeff had fun doing them. Connor was in like the 5th or 6th Exorcist movie. I think it was one of those, like they sold the Exorcist house and his sister moved into it. If you're going to look for Connor Trinneer in horror or suspense, obviously I would tell you to watch Dark Harbor over over that. Because it was bad. It was bad. I mean, I'm trying to figure. Exorcist, The House of Evil. That's what it's called. It doesn't even have a number. It was so far into it, didn't even give it a number. So, hey, oh, Dave, so jealous. You're in LA. Oh, hate you. Night Terrors. Oh, I think you might be right. The episode where Crusher moves into her grandmother's and starts getting controlled by an entity. That was Sub Rosa, Nancy, just like Jober said. It really wasn't a ghost. It was some sort of ectoplasmic thing that she ended up having ghost sex with. It's a hysterical episode. Well, yes, welcome to the Star Trek in horror. Woo, spooky. That's the theme for tonight. Let's see. I don't have anything fun. Like, I wish I had spooky music. This is kind of cool. I get music with my fitting for Halloween. They gave me the Halloween graphics, but no, not so lucky. So yeah, Dave, chime in. Favorite horror movie that's got a Star Trek actor in it, or favorite horror episode of Star Trek itself where you were really scared. If you guys start talking about LA, I'm booting you because I'm jealous. I can't wait to get to LA for the live show. I was actually hoping to get to LA at some point earlier this year, but I think I'm going to have to wait until the Shuttlepod Show live happens, which again, but you will all find out this week. I wish Mark had told me if I could tell anybody, but unfortunately, not so lucky this time around. So you guys are going to have to wait to hear it. Yeah, Dave, what are you doing in LA? And do you need somebody to come out and help you with whatever you're doing? I'll be on a plane tomorrow. So what else? So yeah, so Dark Harbor is definitely, and that's not just kissing up to Mark. It was a really, really, really good movie. So is Glorious, which is another. That's funny. Good one, Dave. Prom night for Travis, and you knew I was getting there. You just beat me to it. Glorious isn't horror per se. It's more of a suspense thing with some gore mixed in, but it's excellent. It's another Mark Cartier production, and it's excellent. And you definitely need to go see it. Rent it. I believe it's on Amazon. And because Travis brought it up, let's jump over to the one, the only Nicole DeBoer, who has done two pretty cool horror movies. Cube, which I say is Saw before Saw, because it's throwing normal people into abnormal circumstances, and then you get to watch them completely just devolve. And it's great, and she was great in it, of course, but no, everybody was great. It was a really good movie. And Prom Night 4, which of course is the sequel to a sequel of the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis Prom Night, which they actually mentioned Jamie Lee in Prom Night 4. They give her a shout out. And the cool thing about Prom Night 4 is that I believe it was shot in Canada, but wherever it was shot and the year that it was shot, the unions weren't as strict as they are now. So Nicole got set on fire. There is a scene where Nicole's arm is on fire. Sorry if you haven't seen it. Spoiler alert, but there's a scene where Nicole's arm is on fire, and that was her. That was actually her and her arm on fire, and she thought it was really cool. Oh, yes. Yes, Bev can win the Star Trek Scream Queen Award. Scream Queen Award. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Award for getting venom in her face. Absolutely. She wins. Visit family visit and one friend. Mark Cartier, if schedule behaves. Oh, maybe Mark. Oh, there you go. That would be awesome. And again, jealous. One of these days I'm going to get out there for a taping of the show. They are going to be going on hiatus soon. So Dave, your timing is great, because if you can make it out to watch the watch the episode, they're going to be shutting down production in the next few weeks, as far as I know. So your timing's really good. Yep, there you go. Screams that make you jump. I mean, come on. Jamie Lee Curtis had that title for a reason in Halloween. I can't believe they remake. By the way, I don't like the Rob Zombie remakes. I think Rob Zombie is great. House of a Thousand Corpses, all of those, awesome. But I didn't like his Halloween remakes. They just, no, I didn't like them at all. I'm very partial to the original. Plus, I've become friendly with Tony Moran, who is the original Michael Myers. When she rips his mask off at the top of the stairs towards the end of the first one, that's Tony. And he's this big, solid, muscular looking guy. Like, he looks like a wrestler or a boxer. He's just got that really solid build now. Sweetest guy on earth. Absolute sweetest guy on earth. And he goes to a bunch of conventions. I just haven't had the chance to go to a horror convention in the longest time. Every time I turn around, my favorite one, it's a bad weekend for whatever reason. And I think I missed it. There was one in September or October and I couldn't go. every time I think I can go, and then it's scheduled and I can't, and it kills me. So hopefully one of these days I'll get down. But horror conventions are great. I actually tried to convince this guy. Never took me up on it. His loss. I told this guy runs this really great horror convention, New Jersey Horror Con. It's fantastic. If you're ever in Jersey or you're a horror fan, we've got two big ones. We've got Chiller, which has actually just happened this past weekend. They overbook the shit out of that, and it's gotten really far away from horror. Even though they call it Chiller, it really doesn't. I mean, they had the Grease car there and Didi Khan and some Star Trek people, and a couple years. The last time I was it the last time? I think, yeah, the last time I did Chiller. The last two, I did Chiller once, and I worked with the cast of Terrifier, which, oh, by the way, is amazing. Has nothing to do with Star Trek, but Terrifier and Terrifier 2 are fucking phenomenal. That is gore porn, but it's well-written gore porn, and if you're into gore porn, I highly recommend the Terrifier movies. So the last time I worked, and then I think it was after that, I went to hang out with the Land of the Lost crew because they did one, because they do Chiller twice a year. So Chiller's kind of gotten away from horror. But New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival is 100% horror. And I told this guy years ago, he should consider doing Star Trek. He should consider inviting a ton of Star Trek actors that have done horror. There is no loss of people that he can pick from that are names. I'm like, dude, New Jersey hasn't had a Star Trek convention. The East Coast hasn't had a Star Trek convention. If you do this, you're gonna double your ticket sales, because people will come to see the Star Trek people. They may just come and do the Star Trek people and leave, but they haven't had a chance to do Star Trek on the East Coast. You're gonna have people come down, and he never took me up on it, and it was his loss. Let's see. Honestly, not much into horror. I'm a wimp. Oh, Joe Burr. Honestly, not much into horror. I'm a wimp. I think the scariest movie I could stomach was Paddington 2. Oh, that's so funny. And I love it. And it's okay. You're still welcome to hang out with me anytime. Okay. Clarence Williams in Tales from the Hood was also in DS9. Awesome. Thank you, JR. Let's see. If I'm ever on the show again, I'll tell some funny stories about the time I worked on a horror film, Asylum of the Damned. Let me watch Asylum of the Damned, and then you are more than welcome to come back on the show. I am always open to repeats. They seem to go really well. You feel like, okay, I've had this person on, but whoever it is always has more to say, always has more to contribute. I have a list of people that I want to have back on the show, and new people I want to have on the show. Please, dear God, let the strike be over for so many reasons, and that is one of them. Pittsburgh has some stuff. Pittsburgh has some stuff going on. Like I said, let me watch Asylum of the Damned, and we'll talk. Look really, really hard. Well, then, of course. See, now, Joe, if I had known that, I would have invited you on for tonight. Because that would have connected. That would have connected up really nicely. If I had known that, I totally would have invited you on for tonight. But in Reanimator mentioned, or Tony Todd Candyman. Yes, Dave, of course. Absolutely. It's okay. You were here late. Yes, but we also mentioned Robert O'Reilly in Candyman because he was in one of them. I think it was 3. In fact, I know it was funny because I love them all. And I don't know, this was a while ago. I was in the mood for a Candyman movie. I don't remember why, but I was just really, really in the mood for a Candyman movie. But they all cost money. They all to stream, which is no big deal. Just pisses me off. But, I'm like, these movies are how old? So I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend money, then I really need to figure out which one I want to watch. And there's reasons I liked 2. There's reasons I liked 3. And then somehow I stumbled across the fact that Bob O'Reilly was in 3. And I went, ding, 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 we have a winner. So I watched 3. Jeff Combs was mentioned. Candyman, absolutely. Obviously Tony's done other horrors. There was this one really funky horror movie that he did with one of the Coreys. It wasn't Haim, it was the other one. Feldman? Yeah, it was Corey Feldman. Damned if I can remember the name of the movie, but it was one of those weird horror funny ones. Like Horror comedy cracks me up. Evil Dead, the original Evil Deads are fantastic. Yes, he was. That's right. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that marathon was on the other day. Another remake I can't stand. I can't stand the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, if you want to talk Freddy versus Jason, that was fantastic. That was fantastic, especially since and I don't know. I mean, I never researched this, but at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, which was the one with Aaron Gray, by the way, there's a Buck Rogers reference. Actually, technically a Star Trek reference too, because she does Heroes for Hire now, and she reps for a bunch of Star Trek people, including Gary Graham, who has already told me when his CD comes out, he's going to come on the show. At the end of that one, Jason's mask is lying on the ground, and you see a Freddy glove come out, grab it, and pull it down to hell. Now, whether that was just supposed to be a one-off or whether that was a big teaser for the Freddy versus Jason, I don't know. But either way, Freddy versus Jason was great. I just didn't realize that Springwood and Crystal Lake, New Jersey were so close to each other because they drive between the two. They never said where Springwood was, but in the very first Crystal Lake, you know that they are in New Jersey, and in fact, there are New Jersey license plates on the car in the very first Friday the 13th movie. So, go figure. And Voorhees is actually a town. I live next to Voorhees. Voorhees is actually a town in New Jersey as well. Child's Play. That's right. That's right. Child's Play. Brad Dourif from Voyager and Catherine Hicks from Star Trek 4, Voyage Home. That's right. She played Jillian, the doctor. And I remember the first time I saw Child's Play, I went, "You're the doctor from Star Trek 4 who saved the whales." So, yep, you're absolutely right. Forgot about her. Do I sound okay to you guys? Because I just realized I didn't move my microphone into its normal position, but it's a really awesome mic. So if it's picking me up and you guys are not having a problem hearing me, I'm not going to mess with it. So I'm trying to think one of my other cats is in here, but I don't think she's going to come up and say hello. The one with the whales. Admiral, there be whales here. Well, if Roy Long thinks I sound fine, then I know I do, because that's what he does for a living. Hi, Roy. Thanks for that one. Appreciate it. Glad you're joining us. Always good to see you. And I now have 13 viewers. Well, I think that's kind of perfect for a Halloween. Not that I don't want more if anybody's hiding out there, but definitely do. I love that there's 13. Let me think. Who else? There was something else I wanted to mention, and now I can't remember. Twilight Zone with Shatner. Oh, yes, of course. Who can forget? Who can forget? The thing on the wing of the plane. What was that? Nightmare at 20,000 feet or something like that. Yeah, I'm sure there were other Star Trek people that did Twilight Zones. I just haven't sat down and watched. Bill Mumy. Bill Mumy did that really good Twilight Zone with the kid with the cornfield. Yep, Nightmare 20,000 Feet Gremlin. There you go. He was the kid who sent people to the cornfield, and he was in a DS9 episode. I don't remember the title. It was during the last season, and he died in Nicole DeBoer's arms. And when I asked him about that episode, I said I didn't know I couldn't remember what season he was in, and I asked him if he knew Nikki, and he said, "Yep, died in her arms." So, and I just don't remember the episode, but Bill Mumy from Lost in Space and The Kid in the Cornfield did DS9. Let's see what else. The Bone Collector. Oh, The Bone. Really? It did? That was a really good movie. That was Denzel Washington, and that was a really excellent movie. John Billingsley worked with him on The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, I think, but I know John Billingsley has worked with Denzel. Also the one with the creepy fortune-telling machine. Yeah, I was just thinking about that one too. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was a horror movie. It was a psychological horror movie. Yes, it was. Yes. All right. Yep. I was just trying to think. There was something else. You guys are doing awesome. You guys are like doing my job for me. I'm just trying to think because there was something else I wanted to say about somebody else and something, and now, boop, out of my brain. Yeah, I did like the Creepy Fortune Teller. Was on TV repeat like forever for a long time. Yeah, and you know what? I'm like, I'm not in the mood. But yeah, you're right. You're right, Roy. I saw it a lot. And I never rewatched it, but it was so creepy. Those horror movies are always the one that gets me more than the Freddys and the Michaels and the Chuckies are the ones where it's a human doing horrible things to other humans, which is why the Hostel movies completely creep me out. It has not been mentioned already. So yes, R.I.P. Matthew Perry. Yeah, that was 7. Oh my God, 7. I know, Roy, you're just rattling off really good horror stuff, but give me, see if you can give me a Star Trek connection to 7. I haven't watched that one in forever. But see if you can give me a Star Trek connection. The famous What's in the Box. Morgan Freeman would have been awesome on any Star Trek. I don't know why they never tried to extend him an invitation. He would have been awesome on any Star Trek. But yeah, the people doing shit to people is always creepier to me. Just trying to figure out if there's anything new. I know what I wanted to mention. Don't forget Shatner did Kingdom of the Spiders, and Shatner did Kingdom of the Spiders. DeForest Kelley did Night of the Lupus, which is Rabbit. And Leonard Nimoy was actually in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And he played a dick. He was not nice. People, yeah, exactly. People can be the worst. Yeah, and I never sat down and watched. I think it was last year, sat down and watched the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Don't make me laugh on a dry throat. That's funny. Flowers in the Attic. Psychological thriller. And we'll give you Flowers in the Attic as a psychological thriller. There's a very thin line between those, but I will say I can get you to Misery. Speaking of psychological thrillers, I can get you a Star Trek connection to Misery in 2. Misery, Kathy Bates, and James Caan. James Caan was in Las Vegas. Dominic Keating was in an episode of Las Vegas. So I can get you Misery in 2. 1, 2. I never know how that works. The spiders. Yeah. You know what's funny is they're more fun when you watch them as a riff tracks, which is, I think I've explained this before, but if you guys haven't heard of riff tracks, so most of you have heard of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Oh, was she? Thanks, JR. Didn't know that. Read the book. I didn't even read the book. Yes. Nimoy Invasion of the Body Snatchers was really good. Riff tracks. So Mystery Science Theater, where they pretended to be stranded on a satellite and they just busted on bad movies. And they just busted. Well, so Mike Nelson, who played Mike Nelson, and then the 2 guys that voiced the robots, took it on the road. And now they're just 3 guys. They're just 3 comedians that bust on movies. And they have their own channel on Samsung TV and Pluto TV. Pluto TV has a Riff Tracks channel and a Mystery Science Theater channel. So check them out. But you can get a lot of their stuff on Amazon. So Riff Tracks on Amazon has both Night of the Lupus and Kingdom of the Spiders. If you have a phobia about spiders, don't watch it. But it's way more fun to watch bad horror movies when these guys are ripping on them. Species 4, The Awakening, Dominic Keating. There's another one. I love this. And I think there was another one. I think there was more Star Trek than that, but 4 had Dominic in it. That's right, Jober. All right, well, you're going to keep us all posted In part 2 of the Olympic trials, for those of you that don't know, Joe Burrow is a sharpshooter, and he is competing for a place in the upcoming Olympics. So we all wish you a ton of luck. Invaders from Mars. Oh, that was such a funny movie. Wait, are we talking about the funny one, or are we talking about another one? Because all I can think of is the comedic one with the green guys, and I don't know. I think there was like an actual like Invaders from Mars, like War of the Worlds, scary. War of the Worlds was another good one. The remake. I never saw the original. The remake had the one with Tom Cruise and I think it was Dakota Fanning. Yeah, that one was really good. Scary one with Louise Fare. Okay, yeah. Mars Attacks. That's the one I was thinking of. Thank you, JR. It was Mars Attacks. Thank you. Yes, Mars Attacks was hysterical. Like I said, horror and comedy actually, I think, go really well together because the scare factor, like the adrenaline and the reactions between being scared and finding something funny is very close, I think. So I think that's why they just mesh really well together. What did I just watched I recommend it. No Star Trek thing that I can think of, but it's new and it's streaming on Peacock. Five Nights with Freddy was really good. I just watched that. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Haven't watched that one yet. I really need to. I think that's one that RiffTrax does though. So I have to watch that one. Like I said, horror and RiffTrax go really well together. They do bad horror and they do good. Birdemic is completely disgustingly horrible. The only way to watch Birdemic is to watch it as a RiffTrax. It cracks me up every time. Again, thank God there is no Star Trek connection in that one because it's just it's terrible. It's terrible all the way around. But the other nice thing about the RiffTrax guys is they're Star Trek fans, so they'll come up with really funny Star Trek cracks. Like they'll make Star Trek jokes half the time. Peter Crombie, not familiar with the name, Robert. So if you wanna lend a hand on that one, I would really appreciate it. Okay, Paul Winfield is in Mars. Like I said, it's so easy to find Star Trek references. Paul, the alien, Simon Pegg. Anything Simon Pegg does now counts as somebody in Star Trek. And his zombie movie, Shaun of the Dead, is hysterical. Shaun of the Dead is great. Paul, which is the alien invasion one with the one little green alien that he meets, that one's really good. In fact, it opens and closes at New York Comic Con. So anything Simon Pegg does now has a Star Trek bent to it, regardless of whether or not you like the Kelvin timeline and the J.J. Abrams movies. They're out there. That makes Simon part of Star Trek, which I have no problems with because he's such a huge Trekkie himself. So there you go. On how did... Oh my God. Birdemic was hilariously reviewed on how... I've never heard of How Did That Get Made. I will have to check that out. Thank you for that, Dave. And if you have seen... he's got other movies. James Nguyen's got other movies out there. And they are all just as terrible. And they are all just as amazing when you watch them through the eyes of the RiffTrax. Shaun of the Dead is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely epic. Nancy, not sure what you were trying to say with that one. Not sure what you're trying. Breaking. I don't watch the Breaking. I have no desire to see any of the Twilights. I am not a Twilight fan. My vampires do not sparkle in the daylight. They burn in the daylight. Much like what happened to Doug Jones's character on What We Do in the Shadows. I'm obsessed with June. Oh, okay. It's a podcast. I'll have to listen to that. That's review bad, good movies. Yeah, I think Birdemic is just a bad movie. It's just funny. Like I said, it's just funny. I can't believe I have a subscription to Peacock, and it is actually on there. Just it's on there as its own movie, and I swear to God, I could never just sit and watch it. The only time I watch it is when I'm really in the mood to belly laugh, and I'll watch it with riff tracks. And what's really funny is riff tracks will quote other movies that they've riffed on. So you could be watching some other movie that they're riffing, and they will quote back to something from Birdemic. They tend to go back to Birdemic a lot. So, but yeah, I highly recommend riff tracks. Like I said, Pluto is completely free, and there is an entire channel dedicated to riff tracks. How is Hocus Pocus horror, Travis? Or are we just equating Star Trek people in it? Because I've never seen it. I know Randy from Lambda Quadrant loves the Hocus Pocus movies. And I know Bette Midler's in it, and Sarah Jessica Parker's in it, and Kathy Najimy. I think those are the 3 leads, but I don't know anything outside of that. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. I usually have like my annual list of stuff that I love to talk about, but I think we've pretty much hit it. Of course, my three faves are anything Connor, Nicole, and Dominic have done horror-wise. The Hellraisers are good. I just never got into them enough to sit down and like watch them religiously. If they're on in the background. Doug Jones, and it's Halloween, and he is in Hocus Pocus. So it is not a horror movie per se, but Doug Jones is in it. And that's where I was going when I got myself sidetracked. What We Do in the Shadows. 5 seasons on Fox. It's getting a 6th one. It's about vampires, but it's like vampires meet the real world. It's based on the movie. It's awesome. Doug Jones is in it. And so is Matt Berry from IT Crowd, for anybody out there that's ever seen the IT Crowd. Matt Berry's in it too. And it's fantastic. And Doug Jones plays a vampire. And I just watched one of his last episodes. I'm behind him. There's a couple more to watch to finish out the season. And Doug Jones is freaking hilarious in it. And he has this great Middle Eastern or mid-European kind of accent, vampiric accent. And it's awesome. And it's funny horror because it's vampires. It's vampires. So, yes. What We Do in the Dark. Okay. All right. Is that okay? So, I'm trying to think what We Do in the Dark is. Because what We Do in the Dark. Deep dive. All right, deep dive me, baby. Adam Scott was in one of the Hellraisers, Bloodline 1, I think. All right, there we go. Like I said, I might have seen all of them, but I'm not sure. Oh, not that this is Star Trek, but Jason 10 was in space. They put Jason Voorhees in space, which was really funny. They found him frozen or something. I don't know. They were on a space station, and there was even a female cyborg and all this other stuff. And yeah, Jason in space is pretty funny. But I love that, Dave. Thank you for that deep dive, because I'd rather have you guys do it. I love this. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's what, Travis, if you're talking about the one with Matt Berry and Doug Jones, it's What We Do in the Shadows. It's What We Do in the Shadows. I didn't want to correct you because I thought you were talking about maybe there was another series called What We Do in the Dark. I don't know. But yeah, What We Do in the Shadows is the one on Fox about the vampires that live on Staten Island. My best friend lives on Staten Island, so that's another reason why I like the show. Clicked on the wrong thing. Idris Elba was in Prometheus. Oh, there we go. That I knew. I just haven't seen it yet. Love Idris. See, thank you, Dave. There's something else from the Kelvin timeline, and I will take it because Star Trek Beyond was my favorite because of all the Enterprise references. When he was yelling about the Xindi and the Romulan War. Romulan War, canon now. Awesome. Yeah, Jason X was, I love Idris too. I thought that there were rumors that he might have been the next Doctor, but that is going to somebody else who looks absolutely amazing, and I can't wait. Time to push the frontier. There we go. I can't wait for Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. Has a date. It's coming up next month. The end of next month, unfortunately. It's The 60th anniversary is actually 3 parts, and Disney, the House of the Mouse, everywhere. House of the Mouse picked them up. So it's not. I guess it's not BBC America anymore. Doctor Who's now streaming on Disney. Beyond was very solid. I agree with you. Anton was in a horror movie. Was he in the Fright Night remake? They completely remade Fright Night, and David Tennant was actually Roddy McDowall, took the Roddy McDowall part. Was Anton the kid? Maybe that's entirely possible. Fifth Passenger, don't know about that one, JR. Yeah, 3 dates. You know what? I have a radio show. I am on a classic rock show, and I will share that information on my socials. But I have a classic rock show on a classic radio station. There's a internet radio, and I am on there Monday through Thursdays. If you don't get tired of hearing me live Monday nights, you can check out my radio show, which obviously is taped. Let's see. At least on Mondays it is. Oh, nope, wrong notebook. But Doctor Who is like the last, it's whatever. Hold on. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a calendar for next month, which is happening next week, or later this week. It is, I want to say, Saturdays. It's the 25th, the 2nd, and the 9th are the 3 dates for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. So Saturday the 25th, Saturday December 2nd, and then December 9th are the 3 dates for the Doctor Who 60th anniversary. And then the new season with the new Doctor starts sometime in 2024. I'm just excited to see David Tennant again. I might be excited to see Catherine Tate. I didn't like her in the original run, but the more I watch it, I'm getting used to her a little bit more. Doctor Who has scary shit too. Let's admit, Doctor Who can rank up there. I know I am not scared of the Weeping Angels the way I'm scared, the way other people are scared of them, but I know the Weeping Angels are like scary as shit to a lot of people. So, I mean, Doctor Who's really good at doing scary and skin crawly stuff. Midnight was kind of scary. Blink. Yeah, see, I wasn't big on Blink. I wasn't big on the Weeping Angels. I do like the whole Angels Have the Police Box thing. I liked Blink for other reasons. I just didn't think the Weeping Angels were as scary as everybody made them out to be. The Angels Take Manhattan I liked better because they turned the Statue of Liberty into an angel. So the Angels Take Manhattan I liked better. Yeah, like I said, I just don't, you know what? Here's a perfect example. Back to Star Trek. Inner Light. Everybody, Inner Light, such a fan of blah, 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 blah. Not the biggest fan of Inner Light. I love the fact that this past week's Lower Decks was called Inner Flight, the Inner Flight, which ha ha ha. But Inner Light was I've just never been a huge, for some reason, the ones that everybody loves think they're awesome or the scariest things. I'm still a big Dalek person. So yeah, so that's just how I am, but no, I get it. So, but yeah, Doctor Who does really good scary. There was a time when this podcast was literally about anything geeky I could think of. So I could have done like a Doctor Who thing, but now it's Star Trek, and I don't mind talking about Star Trek and horror because I think one of the funnest things to do is watch a movie and just see people pop up in it. It wasn't The Exorcist. Was it? It was one of the Hammer horror. It might have been a Hammer horror movie, which is the UK knocky-offies of the classics. But they're great because Christopher Plummer and oh my God, Count Dooku, Christopher Lee, and Peter. Oh God, this is going to kill me. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Cushing and Peter Cushing were in a lot of them. And I just remember watching one, and Patrick Troughton, who played the second Doctor, was actually a grave robber in one of them. And it's just like the Doctor's robbing graves. That's something else that's kind of scary, sort of. Good Omens, which David Tennant's in, but I can't think of a Star Trek reference for that one yet. Enemy Within. That's a good movie. Yeah, exactly, Dave. The other Christopher. Yeah, exactly. If it was Christopher Plummer, there's the Star Trek, but it was Christopher Lee. So that was Star Wars and horror. Peter Cushing was like the king of horror, like for a lot. He did a lot of Hammer. He did a lot of horror, Peter Cushing, before he put on the boots and played Grand Moff Tarkin. He was in a lot of horror stuff, and he's really good as a horror actor. I really enjoy all those Hammer films with him. I feel like I know how just because Halloween's over doesn't mean I can't watch horror movies. You just kind of feel like the whole horror season, you feel like it's the season to watch it is now. So it's like, I mean, after the 31st, I'm sure I'll still watch horror. I just won't have that same feeling, which is, like I said, which is why I want to see if I can fit in Hollywood Kills before midnight tomorrow night, because I may be going to karaoke. I haven't 100% decided yet. I feel like going out tomorrow night. Still kind of on the fence about it. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. And if I don't, I will probably be watching Hollywood Kills tomorrow night. But I will let you guys all know, because I know you're dying to know what I was watching on TV to end Halloween. Anyway, guys, speaking of ending, any last thoughts about All Hallows Eve and how it can relate to Star Trek? And while you're thinking, I want to show you this really kind of cool thing I was just playing with. It just makes it bigger. But my store, I still have a Teespring store if you're looking to get, and I started an entire line of Chat Pack 2.0 merch. So it's not just about me, it's about showing your support to be Chat Pack 2.0. You can scan the QR code, head over. It's pretty much all on that first page. There's bags, there's shirts, there's a lot of stuff. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you, because like I said, I've just been playing with all the cool stuff that I can do here on Restream that I can't do on StreamYard. It's one of the reasons I'm staying here, even though I know the link for this show didn't show up until I went live, which I have no idea how to control that. Thank you, whoever's scanning. Thank you so much. Yeah, it would be a huge support to the show. And like I said, War Dog has my hat. And he's got a couple other things. So yeah, show your Chat Pack 2.0 pride. I would love that. It would mean a lot to me, and I would really, really, really appreciate that. So let's see, Dave. Oh, double deep dive. All right, Dave, you're getting in under the wire. Double deep dive. I love Good Omens. Michael McKean is in it, and he played the clown in The Thaw. Boom is right. I don't remember Michael McKean. Is it season 2? Because I have not finished season 2 yet. So I might not have gotten to him yet, but boom is right. Thank you. Because Good Omens is awesome. Oh, look at that. It even put the link in the room. I didn't even realize it was going to do that. Ronnie Cox, and we're an Enemy Within. There you go. Oh, here's another one as a closing note. Here's one to stay away from. And you would think that this would be awesome. It's called Shadow Puppets. I watched it because James Marsters from Buffy, Tony Todd, and Jolene Blalock were in it. It was terrible. Could not follow the pack. Could not follow the see, I'm getting tired, I guess. Couldn't follow the script at all. Couldn't follow the story. That's the word I was looking for. Couldn't follow the story. It was very disjointed. They had Tony freaking Todd and Spike. They had Spike and they had T'Pol, and I was so looking forward to it, and it was terrible. So yes, Star Trek, double Star Trek, stay away from it. Don't watch it. It'll be 2 hours of your life you don't get back. That's what you've got me for. And I think that about wraps it up on Dave's deep dive. I really appreciate that. I love Michael McKean. Everybody should follow him on Twitter. he's fantastic. He's very pithy and wonderful. And so next week, oh, wait, my phone just went off, but I don't think it's anything. Nope. Always like to see if somebody's gonna yes, absolutely, Jober. Everybody have a very safe and happy Halloween, whatever it is that you're doing. Going out, staying in, whatever. Obviously it's the perfect time to try on that new Trek cosplay that you've been dying to take for a test run. So that's what I was looking for. So thanks guys as always for hanging out with me on this fun little romp of my NX 7062 podcast, which does come to you live every night. Next week, the continuation of Conventions 102 course with the one and only Stephanie Gangone, who is the producer, owner, however you want to look at it. She is Trek Long Island, and she will be joining me here next week. Do not forget also to please check out Lambda Quadrant and their Holocon 4. Lots of really cool stuff going on in the neighborhood, virtually and, live stuff like what Stephanie's doing, which is in May. And you can find out all about that next week. So thanks, guys, as always, for hanging out again. Oh, thank you, Nancy, so much. Yes, Dave, you too. Be well, be safe, be kind, enjoy the rest of the week. You're always welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And until I see you all again, please don't forget to live long and prosper.
This is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX 70